Dr. Klatz, with everything that's going on today economically and its impact on medicine and healthcare, how do you see healthcare of the future, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now, what the imperatives will be for the individual, and won't all of us normally be in a situation where we're having to pay for almost all of our healthcare out of our own pockets?
Well, it's really hard to say, Lyle, because everything's in flux right now. I mean, this world is not like anything anyone has ever, certainly nothing that I envisioned 10 years ago. I mean, the socioeconomic politics is completely in flux at this time. And so it's very hard to prognosticate what the future is going to be. I can tell you what I think an ideal future might be, but I don't really know where we're going right now because things are so strange with regard to the federal budget deficit, the trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars that are being printed out of thin air, no basis to the dollar, the actual value of the dollar falling, with China becoming a major superpower almost overnight, and poised to overtake the United States in terms of productivity, in terms of geopolitical dominance. It's very hard to say how that's all going to filter out in 20 years. So maybe it's better if I say what I think would be the ideal situation. I think that healthcare needs to be brought up to speed as far as being in sync with the times scientifically. We are still 11 to 30 years behind what's going on in a laboratory. When you go into your doctor's office and he treats you for hypertension, Alzheimer's disease, kidney failure, arthritis, sinus problems, presbyopia, you name it, halitosis. Okay, chances are very good that he's not practicing state-of-the-art medicine simply because the way our healthcare situation is set up. Chances are very good that he's not practicing individualized health care for you. He's doing, things that are kind of cookie cutter, that are in the book, okay? By the book medicine. Well, by the book medicine means the medicine is prescribed in the book. Well, the book was printed 2 years ago, and the book was written 5 years before that, so it's 7 years old right there. And it was 7 years old, which means that 7 years ago someone wrote down what was in the book, and he didn't have information of what was going on in the laboratory that minute. At best, he had information of what was going on in the laboratory or in laboratory medicine, or cutting edge medicine from a couple years earlier. So the information that's going into the book now is 10 years old, or longer, or 20 years old, or longer. So what I'm saying is that very few of us are getting cutting edge up to the minute medicine. In the future, thanks to technology and thanks to computer sciences and thanks to an actual need to be very effective with healthcare, I think that we are going to have very individualized healthcare that is specific to you, to your blood type, to your genomics, your individualized genomics, to your metabolism, to your socioeconomic condition, to all the various parameters of you. And so even though 5 people may walk into a doctor's office for hypertension, every one of them is going to walk out with a different solution to their hypertension because it's going to be individualized to you for your condition. You may have hypertension because the renal arteries going to your kidney are somehow constricted. He may have hypertension because he eats too much salt and because he's gotten to a point in life where his kidneys are no longer able to excrete salt as well as it did when he was young. This person over here may have hypertension because he's just very high strung and he has an overactive autonomic nervous system. See what I'm saying? So the treatments can be individualized specifically to the person's genetics as well as to this person's individualized physiology. Because you may respond well to a diuretic, he may respond well to a beta blocker, this other person may respond well to a tranquilizer. Or none of the above. We may be able to treat it all with nutrition. Or we may be able to give a simple injection of a nanobot or a microscopic artificial molecule that finds its way specifically to the damaged cells and repair the damaged cells, or maybe a laboratory-created virus that does pretty much the same thing, or we may be able to treat it nutritionally. So the future of medicine will be very customized, like a well-made custom suit, and will be designed specifically for your needs, your desires, and will be designed not simply to take you from a position of disease to a position of non-disease, but from a position of disease to a position of optimum health, maximum performance.
Sounds to me like that's an MD-ND. I mean, it sounds to me that the person's going to have to be somebody that understands all of that and can practice all of it where it's necessary.
Well, I think what's going to happen is that's the way medical education is evolving. You know, with the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, we have doctors who practiced allopathic medicine or MD medicine for 30 years. 35 years. These guys are board certified in not one medical specialty, oftentimes two medical specialties. So they're a specialist when they come to the A4M. Okay, and then when they come here, then they learn all this new stuff about nutrition, about genetic engineering, about nanotechnology, about stem cells, about electromedicine. Okay, they're learning all this quote unquote, I don't even want to say alternative medicine. It's
complementary.
Complementary is a good term. It's kind of like what's not quite in the box. You know, the traditional healthcare system has a little box. And that's AMA, FDA, approved healthcare, okay, HMO healthcare. It's in that box. And if it's new, it's not quite in the box yet. Or if it's traditional in terms of, being done for hundreds or thousands of years, like Chinese herbal medicine or acupuncture, it's quote unquote alternative. It's way far outside of the box. Well, A4M, we're only interested in what works. So we take everything. So we're kind of where you go to before you get into the box. In the future, I think the box will expand dramatically to include all these other ignored forms of health sciences that have been around in many cases for 50 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, but just are not quite in the box just as of yet.